Hi and welcome. This is Patty Writings. You are watching Southland TV. And today we had a special guest who stopped by our studios. And it's the Honorable of Orland Park, our Mayor Keith Pekau. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, it's a pleasure. And I know that you really have a lot of things going on in town. So we're here to give us a quick update. And starting with new businesses coming in, tell us a little bit of what's going on.
So we have a lot going on in town. I'm sure many of you have heard that we have Von Mauer coming in to replace the Carsons.
Yeah.
We also have an AMC Theater to replace the Sears. So those being the biggest announcements, the mall being our economic engine, it's a huge loss to lose two anchors in a period of about a month, back about 7 months ago.
Yes.
But we were already working, getting something to replace the Sears, and the AMC, we were able to get that approved. It took about 8 months to get it approved.
Yes.
It wasn't unanimous, but we got it through. And it was critical to get that done because with Carson's leaving at the same time, Von Mauer would not have come in with another empty anchor. So the fact that that was already in place allowed Von Mauer to come in. Those meetings with Von Mauer, those phone calls started in April, and then in May I met with them in Vegas, and then we needed to come up with a fairly sizable incentive package that involved not just us, but our other taxing bodies. So I really want to take this opportunity again to thank all of those other taxing bodies. So the Fire Protection District, the library, Orland Park Library, the school districts, District 135, High School District 230, for getting on board and helping with this. And really, well, there's 7 different entities. You have the owners of the mall.
Yes.
You have Von Mauer, and you have Orland Park, plus those other 4 taxing bodies. There's 7 entities involved with this incentive agreement. So it was complicated. It was a team effort. It was complicated, but I wouldn't say it was difficult because everyone knew that we needed to get this done. It was just a function of getting everyone on the same page to get it done. So really, I want to thank all of them, and I think every board's vote was unanimous. So it's really a testimony to all of the entire community getting together to bring something in that's going to benefit the whole community. Because Von Mauer going in there will not only replace that anchor, but it also lifts the entire mall. Because it's such an excellent store, other property values will go up, and it's going to help everybody.
Yes, and I think that is also your commitment to see Orland Park growing and continue on growing, seeing opportunities to make our city proud on what was going on. So thank you for your efforts on that. Now, tell me a little bit also what's going on in Orland Park Crossing. That's another update. So Orland Park Crossings has had a few things enter, which you've seen right across the street. You saw the City Barbecue open and the Callisters, of course, and Vision Works. But also across the street, right where Orland Park Crossings is, the only vacant lot remaining, we have Rock and Brews Restaurant, which is actually owned by Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons of KISS. And they're opening here in Illinois. They've been primarily, I believe, in California, and they wanted to expand eastward and start in Chicago, and they're opening a store here, or a restaurant here in Orland Park. That's great. And when is that going to be, you think, is going to come?
I believe that's going to open by the end of next year. We also have Texas Day Brazil will open probably in January at the mall, and that's a high-end Brazilian steakhouse.
I love it. You know that.
So that'll be great. Of course, we've recently had Chewy's and McAllister's and PDQ open over by 159th Street. So we've had that. We've also, on the other side of town, we had Freddy's Frozen Custard open up. We have an Andy's Frozen Custard coming in on nearer to the mall, right where the old Wendy's site was.
Oh, wow.
So we have a lot of businesses, a lot of restaurants coming in.
Well, I think everybody here knows that Orland Park has been a center for all the restaurants and the new restaurants in the Southland community. So that brings traffic not only to businesses as well as jobs. So everything, the community grows as we bring in the quality top vendors and companies that come in. So now, I know that you have gone through a lot of meetings at the City Hall for the budget for 2019. Give us an update.
So the budget for 2019, we have had a lot of meetings, and at times they've been challenging. But I think we're pretty close to having the budget hammered out. I think all the rest of the changes will be minor. And anyone who has noticed over the last about a year, I shared at the State of the Village, where our operating reserves actually were projected from the time I got into office 5 years ago. We were projected to be negative from our 20% to actually not having any reserves left. So we needed to stop the spending that we have and slow that down, because obviously losing the anchors and losing some of our retail, we do have a revenue shortfall. So we had to somehow close that gap. And last year we cut about $1.5 million out of the budget,
Okay.
and this year we're cutting about another $1.5 million out of the budget. So that combination has our the proposed budget right now, which I think everyone is in agreement with, has our capital reserves stable for the next 5 years to 20% level, which is great. So we're fiscally healthy. We're trying to solve the problem for the long term,
That's right.
and not just focus on the short term year by year. And I think that's been great. And of course, any of these kinds of conversations are challenging because everyone has different priorities on the board, and we all have to come to an agreement. But I think at the end of the day, we've come up with a budget that we're all going to agree to that will be it will be excellent and will help our long-term fiscal health.
Yes, and that's great news because you never know what can happen when you go to the budget, the budget process. So that's fabulous news for the team and everybody that you work with.
Right.
So now I know that on the I-80 in the interstate, there is a committee that has been put together. It's the Chicago Southland Interstate Alliance. So tell me how that got started and developed and the whole vision for it.
So that's really started back when I first took office. Obviously, the I-80 corridor and developing that was very important. It was an important part of the campaign. And it's an area that we have that's in Will County that doesn't suffer from some of the Cook County tax issues. And so we have an advantage there that we don't have in the rest of the community. And it's an area that's still undeveloped. In talking with Mayor Vandenberg in Tinley Park during our election cycle, we got to know each other a little bit, and we talked a little bit about that. And then shortly after that, I met with the mayor of Mokina, Frank Fleischer. I tried to meet with the local mayors, get to know them. And we realized we have a common goal over there. We really don't want to see a lot of warehouse and trucking and truck trafficking. There are places for that in Will County. There are places for that along 355 and I-80. But there's really not a business corridor.
Okay.
And we felt that that's lacking in the region.
Okay.
And so we really need to develop that area as a business corridor. And the Amazon bid came out.
Yes.
And that was one of the things that I pushed, quite frankly, with a little bit of obstruction to doing it, because everyone's like, well, we don't have much of a chance of getting it. And that's true. Nobody that bid it has a great chance because so many people are doing it. But the key to doing that is we were able to put a package together, show what Orland Park has, the fantastic forest reserve districts around us, the parks, all of that, show what our community has to offer, the great schools, the region, what the other towns in the region have to offer, have to offer as well. And that really put us on the radar. Well, that combined with those meetings with the mayors, we said, why don't we work together to try and develop this area? So we formed this group, and we came up with a name, the Chicago Southland Interstate Alliance. Actually, I think it was one of the Tinley Park people that came up with the name. And from Harlem to Wolf Road, about a half mile on either side of I-80, which is Mokina, Tinley Park, and Orland, and we're going to work collectively to market the region and to bring businesses to the region. If something goes into Mokina, I don't want to compete with Mokina for that. I want Mokina to get it. It benefits us.
Yes.
If something goes into Orland Park, it benefits Mokina and Tinley Park.
That's right.
If something benefits Tinley Park, it benefits Mokina and Orland Park. We all win when the region wins.
Yes.
And so I want to get away from stealing businesses from one another. What we need to do is bring businesses into the region because a rising tide lifts all boats.
Yeah, that is phenomenal. And what is the first project that you think this alliance they're working on in the future, in the near future?
So we don't have any active projects right now. We do have some projects that we have through Intersect Illinois, which was something that Governor Rauner set up.
Okay.
That the Amazon bid was handled through them. Now they're aware of us.
Oh, okay.
So they recently had a project that came through from the USDA. And again, the whole country is bidding for this, but Illinois is in a great position to try and get it. And Illinois Intersect actually reached out to Will County and said, hey, is Orland Park putting their site in there? So they made sure that we had something in there because now we're on the radar screen.
That's right.
And so our marketing, our efforts in bringing all these people in to see the area, put us on the radar screen. Economic development can take a long time. As the head of Illinois Intersect says, the longest project he's worked on is 7.5 years.
Okay.
So it can take a really long time, but it's all of this groundwork that identifies what sites we have that are available, what they're available for, and agreeing to that as a group, and then marketing the whole region as a group. There's comfort in numbers.
Yes.
The three of us together can do a better marketing job for the region than either one of us individually.
Totally.
And so that's what our focus right now is: who to market to, how to market, and so we're working that, and we're continuing to do that to try and bring projects in, and hopefully we'll start to see some.
And being noticed.
Correct.
But the other groups, they're supporting growth in their own state. In this case, the interstate is an Illinois effort. So when they're looking at cities like us working together, it really makes you high up on the list.
And what people don't realize is that Orland Park, we're the 20th biggest city in the state.
Wow.
Tinley Park's the 21st. You throw Mokina in the mix,
Yeah. Oh
the
my
three of
gosh.
us together,
Yeah.
and I think in the top 6.
Really?
We're not
Wow,
just
that's awesome
we're not
to know.
just individual small suburbs.
Yes.
We're an area in and of ourselves, and that doesn't even include. This is just the I-80 corridor. You know, that's not even including Frankfurt and Lamont and Palos Park and New Lenox and all those. When you start putting that together, the region has so much to offer.